Hi, welcome back to Golf Training Hacks. You know, it's estimated that 80% of us at one point in our life will have some type of back pain or back injury. And if you're a golfer, unfortunately the odds are even higher. Now, whether you're a recreational golfer playing once in a while or a golf pro playing every week, if you're a golfer, your odds of getting some type of back pain or back injury are pretty high. And that's because there's so much force in a golf swing. And that force is going right into your back. So how do we reduce the odds? Well, a great place to start is your hips, because weak, stiff, and misaligned hips are often the cause of back pain and back injury. So in this video, we're going to work on releasing some of the tension in the side of your hip and then show you 3 ground-based techniques to improve the mobility and strength in your hips. So let's get started. In this video, we're going to work on the muscles on our lateral hip, on the side of our hip. We're going to do some soft tissue work to release some of the tension here, because that's very important for rotation. That's because there's muscle structures in the side of your hip that are attached to your IT band. And your IT band goes down along the side of your leg, and then it hooks into the outside of your shin below your knee. Now, why is that so important? Well, the IT band is kind of misnamed. It's not a band. When you think of a band, you think of something that can stretch. It's really an IT strap. It doesn't stretch. So the IT band has an insertion here. That's not going to move any. And then you have an insertion in a muscle structure in your hips. So if that's tight, then this IT band, as you rotate, begins to pull. Right? That makes sense. If this is tight as it is, because this muscle is tight, so this muscle is, if this is the IT band, this muscle is pulling this IT band into a more stiffened position. Now, as you rotate on that IT band and you get rotation, it pulls even more, and it can cause irritation on the lateral side of your knee, but it also limits your rotation in the golf swing. So we're going to use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. I'm going to use a lacrosse ball. And we're going to work on getting some release in the side of your hip. So I'm going to be working, so right in this area here, I'm going to lay on this ball on my side, and I'm going to work all this muscle tissue right around here to begin to release the tension on the IT band. So I'm going to start here. And by the way, I'd really recommend you use the tennis ball to start, because the lacrosse ball is pretty hard. All right, so now I'm going to go get comfortable. I'm kind of on the front portion of my hip. And what I'm going to do now is just let my body weight sink into the ball, let the ball do its work. Take a deep breath in. And just sink into that ball. When you're breathing, try to exhale twice as long as you inhale. You want to get a deep diaphragmatic breath. You want your neurological system to relax, so it doesn't feel that this is a threat, because if your brain perceives a threat, it's going to tighten the muscles up because it wants to protect the joints and muscles from injury. And now you can just move around and find some other spots where you might want to just take a deep breath in and then release. And you notice that my knees and hips are in flexion. I mean, you can also move them out longer, but this tightens it up a little bit. It gets a little more tension in that hip, and that's what I'm looking for now. But if it's too painful, you can release it like this. You post on this leg, you use this arm, and you come up. If you can sink more, then you release. You can bring this up. In fact, you can, if it feels that it's not too painful for you, you can actually go into flexion like this and do the same thing. Now, what you can also do is move around. So now I'm on the front portion of my hip. I'm going to press down into the ball, and I'm going to try to push the muscle structure towards the midline. And basically giving yourself, a self-massage. So I'm just moving very slowly. Now I'm talking to you, but what I should be doing is breathing. So I'm going to take those deep breaths in and release as I'm moving the ball back and forth. I'm kind of scrunching that muscle tissue up and trying to push it towards the midline. In this case, kind of at the high portion of that hip. Now I'm not rolling all the way back. I'm not all the way into this high glute area. I am staying on the outside of this hip. And you can just play around with it. So working on the lateral hip is really important for rotation. It's also really important to relieve some pain that you might be feeling on the lateral side of your knee. It's IT band syndrome is actually the name of it. So if you're rotating a lot and all this system is stiff, as you're rotating, what's happening is it's pulling more on this insertion and you're getting some irritation there. In this video, I'll show you how to use a ground-based technique to get some gentle loading into your shoulders and hips. Now, if you've been with Golf Training Hacks for a while, you've seen us do a basic rock. So to do a basic rock, it's really simple. You just get on all fours and you rock back and forth. Get some head motion into it. So look through your legs and look up. Now, if you can't get this kind of range in your hips and knees, that's okay. So just go back to where you can. That would be fine. We're going to use a single leg rocking motion in this video. And that's simply using one leg to go back into a rock. So I'm going to use my right leg to go back, and I'm going to rock into my left leg. And back to the starting position. If you want to put this toe up, mobilize your toes. That's great too. Now, if you want to make it a little harder, a little more challenging, we're going to use an opposite arm, opposite leg movement. So now I'm going to move these opposites together, but what I want to do is land them together. So I want to land my hand and my foot at the same time. When I come forward, I'm staggering, and I want to land my knee and my hand together in a staggered position. It's kind of like a crawl, stationary crawl. So I'm going back, I'm landing together, landing together. Rocking motions are great. A single leg rock is a great way to get some strength and mobility into your hips and into your shoulders. So in this video, we're going to work on getting some hip internal rotation. Now you need hip internal rotation throughout the golf swing. So you get onto the all-four position, you can rock back, and then rock into the right side. So I'm rocking into this side. Look down, you look up, and then you rock into that side. Now, if you can't go all the way back, go as far as you can. If that's all you can go, that's fine. You could go from the right side to the left side, rock down, rock to the right, or you could just go from one side to the other. It's a nice, easy way to begin to get some movement in your hip capsule. So if you found that helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And don't forget, check out other videos on the channel to help you improve your movement quality and keep that useful fluid swing while staying injury-free.